Yeah, I guess some of the things we done back then wasn't too smart. We was up teeny there at that Grable place, and of course that was really a thriving village at the time. They had a post office, a store, and a schoolhouse. But along towards the end of the calving season, things would get a little boring. We'd rope one of them cows by the hind foot and then crawl on and see how far we could ride it in one of them cactus and rocks.
Oh, jeez.
That wasn't real smart. I sit up there all alone with my old 36 Ford. Then, of course, you have to take the rope off of the cow.
Probably a bit harder than getting it on.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure I'd ever get quite that bored.
Well, it didn't take long for us to smarten up. A few bruises.
That was our summer vacations. Were up at the Grable place, and
You know,
Co and I would go over to Teeny to fill up our water jugs from the pump jack.
that's where Claire Duncan and Johnny Valentine, they'd stop and check on us two outlaws once in a while. And one day I just had baked 2 loaves of bread in that stove up there, and they drove in, and by golly, they sat down and ate one whole loaf. But that's what they were doing, was going over to get water. I don't know if you noticed it or not, probably not, but the stovepipe that come out of the house, it had some bullet holes in it. I had a .22 pistol. I used to go to the outhouse out there and sit there and shoot.
Target practice, huh? Oh, I bet that impressed your folks, or did they never figure out that was your target practice?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, the good old days, huh? We used to ride up the creek to, I can't think of the guy's name, but it was up there on Biles. But we used to ride up there and visit, and he'd ride down. And we went up there one day and there wasn't anybody home. But we went in the house and he had a gallon jar of jam or jelly or something. And he had cats. All around the top of that rim was cat hair.
Ew.
They'd been, well, that's the same deal up at Fred Keelman's over here. Rode in there and here, jam jar sitting there with cat hair all the way around the top.
As far as I care, it's now a cat jar. I don't want anything to do with it.
No, we didn't have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that day either. Yeah, he was talking about these woolly buggers. One day I had the herder wanted to go to town, and he was my grandmother's brother. So I had to watch the sheep, and he wasn't a very good housekeeper. So sheep were behaving themselves, so I thought, I'll clean up his wagon. But this one pan I had a horrible time. I just soak it and scrub and finally got it clean. It was moldy around the edges. And next day my dad come and said, Uncle Ben's mad at you. And I said, why? We threw out his sourdough.
Oh, no.
We had to start over again.
Well, if it was moldy, it was probably time to start over anyway.
It was very sour.
He died out with the sheep,
Really?
not ours, but somebody else's. And his old dog, Buzz, they had trouble picking him up. He wasn't letting him close.
Oh, really? You
Sold
protect
the
him till
sheep.
the end and then some, huh?
Yeah, they sold the sheep, but they kept the lead sheep and the dog. And Uncle Paul Betts lived where Roy Jones is now. Bought some lambs, had them into the stockyards in Hinsdale. And he was going to get a bunch of high school kids to help him take them sheep out there. So he was going to feed them on the beet tops and grain and stuff. Dad said, oh, I'll I'll take him out there alone. So he come out to Grandpa's and got the lead sheep and the dog, and this dog wouldn't chase sheep away from you.
You
He'd always
bring
bring
him
it
to
to
you.
you. So he got in the front of him with the lead sheep and told Paul to open the gate. Opened the gate, led the sheep, the dog come behind and brought him. He took him out to the
Perfect.
alone. Then we had another herder that was, he kept a real clean camp, but he liked to bend his elbow once in a while and go on a little toot. Well, Forrestine took him out to the sheep one day after he'd been on a little toot. And Forrest said, "Oh, where's the sheep?" He said, "Oh, I don't know, I sent the dog after him." He said, "Well, the dog is still under the wagon." Well, the dog wouldn't work for him when he was drinking.
Oh, really?
So he went out again and he gave the dog hell and told him to go get them sheep. And Forrest looked out again, and here, a while later, here come the dog with the sheep. They were pretty valuable.
The dog was worth a lot.
I had one dog like that. He could almost read my mind. Picked 200 head of cows and run them through the chute, just him and I.
Wow.
I was having number brand and I was clipping them. He'd bring one into the chute. When I turned it out, he'd go back and get one more and bring it in.
Wow.
He got sick on me, and I don't know what it was. I had him to the vet for about 18 days or something, and they couldn't figure it out.
Hmm.
But he was a good cow dog, and he was a good pig dog. 'Cause I had some of my brother-in-law's pigs when he moved from Opheim to Warden. I was supposed to just keep him here for a little while. Well, they'd jump over the fence and run around all over, and I'd sick the dogs on them. And I was out here one day, and I was going to educate this pig. I had my shotgun, and I was a pepper him in the butt, and he was a going, and the dog would chase him, and he'd turn around and look at me, and I'd go like that, and he'd chase him some more. He almost had him to Betsy's over there before he, but the dang thing come back. Well, I finally got tired of it. I just had an old wooden granary sitting down here with grain in it. I just opened the door and let the pigs go in there, and then backed up the pickup up there and run them in the pickup and took them to town. Otherwise, I'd have probably killed them.
Might as well get something out of them. Huh?
Well, they weren't mine, but
What were the stockyards like in town?
oh, they just had the corrals and stuff. I don't know if they all gone now.
I haven't been back over there for quite
I
a
don't
long
think there's
time.
anything left. And so was that just to stick them on the train? There wasn't any auctions or anything, was there?
So there was a scale there, so you could
Mhm.
weigh them. But yeah, the train quit hauling cattle, and so they had to truck them then. So yeah, they used to haul cattle and sheep and stuff. Same way down to Vandalia here. They had a big stockyards down there. They had a stockyard, and they had an elevator, and they had a lumber yard and a brick factory. They made the bricks for the courthouse in Glasgow, the first one, I guess.
Oh, really?
They had well, John David, I heard the story, and I don't know if it's true or not, that he jumped off a train and come into Vandalia there, and H.H. Nelson, his wife, was one of them, what do you call them, clairvoyants, that tell the future. She forecast World War II.
Really?
But when we were kids going to school, this is the first grade, you drive by that big house down there, and you upstairs window, you'd see this curtain go back and this face in there. Well, of course, that was spooky to us kids. We heard that there was something wrong with her. Well, the next year I went to school in Hinsdale, but in the later years when Schroman's moved down there, well, Andy was sitting down there. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. They had a bunch of raccoons down there, and Dusty and Roy Jones wanted to trap them. But Elliot thought, no, they're so cute, so he didn't do it. Well, Andy was sitting downstairs one night reading the paper, and he heard this racket upstairs. Thought Mrs. David had come back to haunt him. He called Elliot. Elliot went upstairs with his big 44 and looking around and hear these raccoons had moved in upstairs in the house and just made a mess. They used one closet for a bathroom, and so Dusty and Roy got to trap them in the house. He didn't
They
think
weren't
them
so
raccoons-
cute after that.
They weren't so cute.
That's a neat old house.
Yeah. No, I don't. Well, I guess I haven't tried it for a couple of years, but you can't hardly raise any corn around. Account of them coons. And others, she tried to raise it down there, and I heard you put a radio out and turn it on, and they'll scare them away. Well, all I did was turn it up and have a dance. I had a radio, and the garden was full of traps, and I had to go out and pick all the traps up, shut her cats up at night, and pick the traps
I've
up.
caught lots of cats in live traps trying to catch coons. Coons would get, we haven't had problems for a few years, but they would get into the barn and get into the cat food, and pretty soon they'd get up in the rafters and have babies up there, and
I hate
made a mess.
raccoons.
Yeah.
You ever try golden melon fly bait?
You know, we used to have that when I was growing up. Mom and Dad used to sprinkle that around, and we had a dog eat a bunch of it once, and that wasn't so good, so I've never tried it.
Take this and mix it up with a little Coke or Pepsi, make it kind of a slurry there. They don't get very far from it, but
You could probably even put it in the Pepsi can, and they'd probably get to it, and then your cats would be safe, huh?
Yeah.
I never had a cat bothered, but I did that dog.
Yeah. So
Well,
we
he's
had,
a pup now, but
I think it was one of our springers got into it once, and maybe it didn't kill him, but God, he was sicker than heck.
well, all I did was turn my back on him, and he went around and took 2 slurps. He just about didn't make it to the house. I gave him some milk, and he'd come out of it all right, but
From drinking what?
that golden melon fly bait and
Oh,
Pepsi,
what would you like, fly bait and Pepsi?
I might for a little while.
About 2 slurps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be enough.
Grain and stuff out here. I had a couple of steers of Russ's over here, and put the grain in a horse trailer. Well, the coons was getting into it, so I mixed up a batch of it. And one of them got about that far away from the pan. Donna Christian was having trouble with them, and I said, "Why don't you try that?" She said, "Well, what do I do about my cats?" Of course, you can always get more cats. She like, but I never had a cat bothered. Oh, back in WW2, the big one,
Too.
they had ration stamps. And of course, the farmers got a little more of that, like, well, tires and sugar was one of the things. But my grandmother had rhubarb patch. It was green rhubarb, which I don't care for. I'd rather have the red. But the green rhubarb is probably why I don't like it, because she'd make rhubarb pie, and we'd come in from the hayfield and have iced tea, and she'd put the sugar in the iced tea and leave it out of the rhubarb pie.
Oh, yeah, that was totally backwards.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you, I couldn't drink iced tea for years after that. So we was for a while drinking that powdered iced tea. I didn't think you could tell the difference, but you can. And when I was working at the school with Roy Schultz, so everybody would take a break and go up to the cafe and have a cup of coffee or tea or something. And these the taxpayers, they got to complaining about that, because I guess we wasn't supposed to do that. I told them, well, heck with it, we'll just put our own coffee pot down in the kitchen. This is the summertime. If we want to take a 10-minute break, we'll take it. If we want to take a half an hour one, we'll take it. Well, then another time, Dale Zorn, he was a coach at the time, and he was going to work with me there one summer. And we were putting a burlap and tar roof on the schoolhouse. I go up there just about daylight, 'cause it gets so hot, I'd take my
Yeah.
shoes off to see if my feet was blistered. And we got our 8 hours in, we go down and jump in the river. Well, the taxpayers got to complaining about that. Well, it happened to be that the bell was on the roof of the school at the time. So along about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'd sit there and ring that bell.
Just so people knew you were there.
Yeah. Marvin Schultz, he lived next door. He was the only one in town that knew he was there until I started ringing the bell, and then they quit complaining.
So you used to drive bus and then you worked in the school?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was gonna get rich and come out here and go farming and get rich. That didn't work out too good. She said she worked at Penny's for 40 years to support me while I farmed for a hobby.
Support his habit, huh?
Yep.
Hobby.
Then she quit and they closed all the stores.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so mad.
Yeah, I really miss having a Penny's in town.
I do too.
Well, they don't have nothing for old people anymore. We went to Williston a couple times and they didn't have nothing. They didn't have any work clothes, any work shirts or
Oh,
nothing.
really?
And that's where we used to get them all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I was sick. I didn't really think so, but they hauled me down to the emergency room and took my blood pressure, and this little gal said, geez, that's the highest blood pressure I've seen of anybody come in here since I've been here.
Oh, wow.
I looked up here and it was 245 over 113.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
I guess I was about to have pneumonia and a stroke.
Got lucky somebody hauled you in, huh?
Yeah, that's with a nurse down over the hill here and her husband.
Kind of handy to have one of them in the family, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it's a contest you probably don't want to be the winner of.
Well, they give me a IV and they run some stuff in it. I don't know what it was. Sent me home with a bunch of pills and, geez, I don't know. It's just something that takes a long time to get over, I guess. I'm not coughing like I was before, but my ears are plugged up now. It's the only thing.
He likes that though, when he can't hear.
A little selective hearing there, maybe.
Speaking of getting sick, do you have a lot of experience with the doctor's office in town? Cockrell?
Yeah, that's where I was born. I was born in the, what's now a church, in the McIlvaine house.
Oh, right.
Right across from
The Baptist church, yep.
Jim. Yeah.
I always thought that would be a neat house.
Yeah, it was.
It's a banister and all that.
And then Dr. Cockrell, he's the one that took my tonsils out, and our recovery room was over in the Chester Hotel, which was right next door. I think they carried me over there on a, I don't know, it was a grain door or a house or something, but I was a gentleman that day. I let my sister go first.
That was nice of you.
And it took 4 of them to hold me down to give me the ether. I can remember laying there, you gotta count backwards with that ether. And Mrs. Ben C, she was a nurse. And about all I could eat for a while was ice cream, which wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that didn't bother you too much. Yeah, Brady's the only one of my kids that's ever had his tonsils out, and I remember a good 2 weeks after he had his tonsils out, we were doing something down in the basement. He looks at me and says, Mom, I don't think that was such a good idea. I think his voice was still a little funny, and he thought that that was just going to be the way it was forever. I said, oh, honey, you're still healing. It's going to get better.
She's the one that had fun with her tonsils getting out. She
Oh,
jumped
yeah.
up and ran away out of the chair, but they just done it local. They didn't put her to sleep.
Oh my, that was a bad idea.
They do that? That sounds horrible.
Yeah, I think I would have jumped up and ran out of the chair too.
Well, they said, well, you've got to get back there and get it done, so I went back.
Ugh.
Yeah, Dr. Cockrell pulled my first tooth, and I can still see him. He went into the doctor's office, was right behind the bank. Well, he went in the back room, and he brought out this towel, and he rolled it out, and there was a bunch of these here funny-looking tools. He come and stuck it in my mouth and picked me up and shook me off, and I fell back down in the chair. The chair's still down at the museum, though.
God.
That's one way to pull a tooth.
Yeah, he was a pretty good old doctor. We was lucky to have him, I guess, back in them days. I can remember going to town. I had tonsillitis real bad. It was a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit at the time, during the war.
Mm.
Safe tires.
Oh,
And that old pickup heater didn't work too good. Go to town to the doctor. In fact, back in them days, Tom Laycock wouldn't put a heater in his outfits. He said if you got a heater in the outfit, they won't take enough clothes along to keep warm if they get stalled. So he made sure they took enough clothes along to start with.
I guess there's some logic to that.